Hi, it's Joanne. Today we're watching Heartstopper Season 2, Episode 2, Family. So excited to put another episode. Reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon 2 weeks in advance, edited version 1 week in advance, and let's go.
You're a bit distracted, haven't you?
He's a teenager.
I'd like to see him participate more.
And he's such a pleasure to have in class. Set the top grades in his GCSEs.
He's failed to handle
Coursework essay. If you don't finish it, then that'll be a fail grade. You need to start focusing on your schoolwork.
You do, sweetheart. Puppy love. I mean, it is ridiculous how important. I mean, GCSEs aren't that important in the grand scheme of things, as I've said thousands of times. But it is ridiculous how much of your life depends on the good choices you make as a teenager. Like, when your brain is a scrambled mess of hormones, it doesn't finish developing until your mid-20s, and you're supposed to, like, take all these exams, choose subjects, choose things that are going to go forward and, like, shape the rest of your life. Like, obviously you can go back and redo school courses and stuff as an adult, but that not only costs money, then you have to worry about, am I working alongside of it? Like, it is just, I mean, I don't know how else we would do it as a society, but it does seem ridiculous that, like, teenagers with their hormones all over the place have to make good decisions to shape their lives.
Well, I think you and Nick need to spend some time apart.
That's not fair.
We are not banning you from seeing each other completely.
No, it needs to be a complete ban. Until this
Oh.
coursework essay is handed in.
It's not I mean, it's not unreasonable given that he's late-handed an essay, and unlike him, I feel like maybe a complete ban is a bit much, but yeah, restricting it a little bit. Again, I'm so fucking old saying this, but then also, I mean, that parents' evening gave me the shivers. Like, my parents' evenings were always that I was wonderful. Just joking. I basically was good academically. It was just speak more. Basically, I was Isaac. So, like, the idea of a teacher sitting down and saying, like, she hasn't handed her homework, she's been late, she hasn't done things, gives me a little bit of, like, residual anxiety. I am not an anxious person. I didn't take school way too seriously. It's fine. I was fine. I think a complete ban is a little harsh, but not unreasonable to have some kind of restrictions on it, given that its schoolwork is slipping.
Stop bothering him, David.
I've already on Nintendo Switch, by the way.
So they're not close.
Just please don't tell me about Charlie.
I know keeping your skills up is good, but this also doesn't unlock your history essay. And again, I am a big advocate for having breaks from schoolwork. Sweetie, the best thing you could be doing right now is your coursework. Oh, teenagers. I mean, banning is a lot. Like 1 day a week or something until the coursework's done. And something I meant to say in my review last time is what to do about Imogen and Ben, because hopefully they'd spend a little bit of time together and then she'd realise she doesn't actually like him, but he's also clearly very good at stringing people along and manipulating them and making them think he's a good guy. You obviously feel bad for him struggling with his sexuality, but he has had multiple girlfriends at this point when it's fine to just not have girlfriends and just be like, oh, I'm focusing on school or whatever. And the teachers all think he's charming. Now, obviously that is a bit of a trope that teachers always think the horrible kids are perfect and wonderful. It's not always the case. Sometimes they think nice kids are perfect and wonderful. Sometimes they can see straight through the horrible kids, but often it is the case because that horrible kid is good at fooling everybody. But we just don't want to see Imogen get hurt. And as Nick, you know he's already hurt one person he cares about. What if he's going to hurt Imogen? And what if he's only pursuing Imogen because he hates Nick and wants to get back at him? And, like, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff there, and that no matter what, Imogen will get hurt by being involved with Ben. Oh no. Oh, it's hard. Like, do you tell Imogen, like, you can't tell anyone, but he's gay, he was with Charlie before me and he treated him horribly? Or do you respect Ben's privacy in that regard? Like, what is the right thing to do there? The probable answer is there isn't a right thing to do there. Sweetheart.
Are you okay with your brother and everything?
This isn't the place, my loves.
It's not my fault he liked me before you.
That's not why he hates
I hate
you.
you because you literally assaulted him.
Separate them. Not into isolation together. Separate them.
I told you,
Do you even like her? Sorry, am I not allowed to like girls as well as boys?
course you are, but you've hurt one person. You're scared you're going to hurt
Charlie, no, you
another.
don't want to come out.
I do want to come out.
Right, thinks you're this perfect boyfriend, but you are just the same as me.
No. Sweetheart, it's not true. Because you told Imogen, you told your mum, you hang out openly with his friends. Yeah, it would be great if you could just easily walk down the hall and kiss like a straight couple could do, although not at your school, obviously, because it's a different same-sex school. But Ben would only meet him on his terms in secret places. You do kissing in secret places, but you also do stuff in public too.
If you do have a girlfriend, I want to know about it. She needs my approval.
Sweetheart, talk to your mum and get your mum to get him to back off.
Charlie!
They're so sweet. I mean, this is lovely, Charlie, my love, but I do have to say that if you just buckled down and got your coursework done, you could see Nick more often. They're so sweet.
You okay?
I mean, I'm just gonna say, kids, this is a proof to me that you are being distracted from your schoolwork. I can also say that it is healthy to have a little distraction. If you focus too much on it, only on the revising and only on the coursework, you're never going to get anywhere because you're going to wear your brain out. Bless.
I'm Naomi, by the way.
I'm Al.
And this is Felix.
More friends.
Here I could just be Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I
The
mean?
rest of your life you will.
Yeah.
Tell her how you feel. Talk to your mum about how you're feeling too. Oh,
Why are you dating Ben?
What do you mean?
maybe don't do this right during the middle of her exams.
Dick, he's done some really bad stuff.
So whatever happened in the past, he's nicer now. And I really like him.
Imogen.
Good luck in the exam.
Yeah, this wasn't the best time, my love, but he is a kid trying to figure it out. God, these exams and how they... I mean, GCSEs themselves aren't that important, but they do form the basis of, oh, flashbacks. The basis of what leads you on to the next thing, that leads you on to the next thing. That is important. That's also not the end of the world if you do muck up. You can retake them, you can do whatever. Just take a breath. Yeah.
I'm going out tonight with Naomi and Felix. We're going to a club that...
My love! Exams are not one day a week. GCSEs are brutal. It's like 3 weeks of constant exams, sometimes two in a day. I think someone had 3 in a day once. Like, you don't get to go out in the middle of it.
Maybe we could have that art day at the weekend or something.
She is in the middle of her GCSEs.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry.
No, it's nothing to be sorry about.
Feelings are hard to manage.
Did warn you I'm not a fan of Marvel movies.
Dump him, Nick.
Hi.
Oh, I worried he'd be here.
I just wanted to meet the guy that, that turned my little brother gay.
What?
Fuck off. Get your mum.
Actually? And so what?
Good for you, Nick.
I'm bi, actually. Like what?
Like a homophobic prick!
Guys, what is going on?
You have
Why did you
raised...
tell him about Charlie?
I didn't, Dan.
Mum, he's saying he's bi. I mean, what a load of absolute bullshit.
David, please don't swear.
He can't even admit he's...
Please don't swear. He could have said the C word, and I would let that slide over the fact that he is saying he's bi.
gay.
He's such a dick!
I'm just being realistic.
Right, boys, that is
Oh.
enough. David, in the kitchen now.
David is the prick here. Nick is innocent of any wrongdoing.
Should I go home?
I knew it wasn't going to get to be perfect, and I'm so sorry it's from within your own family.
Sorry.
I don't like that in this house, that brother just said. Oof. I would not want him in my house. Like, I mean, obviously you can't pick one kid over another, but when one kid is being a homophobic arsehole, and he's gonna get in trouble for sneaking out when he really could do with talking to his parents.
Charlie, you are grounded for the rest of this term. And don't even think about sneaking out, or you won't be going on the Paris trip.
Oof. This isn't how you get your kids to open up to you about your problems. But I also don't think it's unreasonable, given that he is not doing his coursework and sneaking out. Again, I feel like it should be more of a conversation than a, oh my god, me too, couldn't wait to drop maths, sorry. It should be more of a conversation than just like, just yelling. You should also, not that she was yelling, but you know, just tell them off. You should have more of a conversation about why you're grounding them, or why. I mean, again, I've never parented, and I never did anything wrong. I never did anything wrong. I was a boring child, so it shouldn't have to be, my darling. And it's really horrible as well thinking about all of this complications when you think about how, oh fucking, I know names! The actor that plays Nick, sorry, was treated with regards to like being forced to like come out. People who watch this show did not get the message the show is trying to send. I don't blame you for not, my love. No, it's not.
Coming out to my mum was amazing. But there are still awful people in the world, like my brother. You know, when you came out. But I can handle it.
That's why you didn't. I mean, again, I think I've at his age standing up to like one of my friends had a scary older brother, and I mean, I just kind of sat there awkwardly whenever he was around. He didn't even do anything that bad. It's not anything you've done, and because his parents are so cross with him, he's not feeling like going outside and talking to them about what he's going through, so he's just going through it alone. And I get why his parents are so cross with him, because he's being a brat with how he's acting with his schoolwork and sneaking out, but just go and talk to your parents. They're cross, but they'll listen to you, my darling.
Stuck here. Same old towel.
Same old towel isn't so bad.
Exactly.
You have to fight to stay by her side.
Exactly. Make her feel wanted by you, because that's what started her in a way.
Yeah.
I love all the different parent-child relationships they have. They're also believable because, and I think of the parents we've seen so far, I have my doubts about Nick's father, to be fair. We haven't seen him yet. The parents are trying. I don't think Charlie's mum is like, I hate my son, I'm going to be a bitch to him. She truly thinks this is how I'm going to help him make better choices or whatever. The parents are all doing their best, but they're all not necessarily doing a perfect job because they're human.
I like Elle, okay? I said it.
Well
Don't
done.
laugh, but I'm going to tell her. Help me.
Very sweet. Okay, so as expected, the happy, perfect romance has hit its first roadblock. Like Nick said, it was never going to be perfect with everyone. I think in some ways it was very clear from the beginning that Nick and his brother were not close. They did not have a particularly good bond. They didn't get on. You know, even the friend I was talking about with her scary older brother, who like, she's getting married soon, and I'm like, I'm gonna see her brother, he's scary. I'm 29, it's fine. Like, he wasn't ever, you know, you could see that even though their relationship dynamic seemed a bit odd to me at times, they loved each other. That is not there between Nick and his brother. So I think part of why he didn't want to tell her, I mean 100% of why he wasn't going to tell his brother was because he knew his brother would not take it well. His brother would be an offensive dick, his brother would be abusive, his brother would not be accepting or loving or willing to consider being accepting or loving. Genuinely baffles me as to how Olivia Colman's character managed to raise Nick and David. Guessing the father had a lot of influence on David. Olivia Colman, why were you ever with this father? Again, I know nothing of the circumstances. Just the vibe from the moment that son came home was very clear that he was a dick. And how is Nick so unbearably sweet when his brother is so unbearably the opposite? Now I think if it had been a girl, if Charlie had turned out to be a girl Nick was seeing, I think he still would have been obnoxious. I think he still would have been rude, but it would have been in that kind of laddish big brother way, not in a homophobic, actually offensive kind of way. Like, both would have been bad, but it wouldn't have been this bad. It was very uncomfortable to watch that scene, to know that brother is homophobic, he doesn't want it happening in this house and all that kind of stuff. Now, genuinely, I know you can't like pick a child over another, etc. But when one child is being a homophobe and your other child, especially when your other child is gay, if I was Olivia Colman, I would say, please leave the house. Like, get your things, leave. You know, Nick lives here. This is his home. He deserves to feel loved and accepted here. And if you are not capable of doing that, leave. You have university accommodation. You have your fucking father's house. Like you said, go. Educate yourself. Like, I'll see you for lunch if you want. Like, we can have a relationship, but I will not have this energy in this house. I also can totally understand that as a parent, I don't know. I never remember what Olivia Colman's character is. She's just called Olivia Colman to me in this show. Is not been in the situation before. How do you deal with it? How do you handle it? I think they both knew that telling him wouldn't go well. Makes my heart break to think that his father might not take it well. But to be honest, Nick, if that's the case, you're better off without your father and your brother in your life. Plain cut. I know what it's like to have a messy relationship with your father, and it's nothing even like the one that I think you're about to have. So just, yeah, get rid of your father. It'll hurt you, but it'll be for the best. And it breaks my heart that brought back to Charlie some of the horrors of when he came out and when he was being bullied. It probably made him more aware of kind of what his sister was saying, that when, so I hope it's a when for their sake, they are publicly out, when everybody knows they're together, Charlie it won't just be Nick being bullied, it will be both of them again. Now, again, I have to believe and pray and hope it will be an even smaller minority than it was last time. Not only are the kids older, some of them knew Nick, so they might be more likely to stand up to him. It's a horrible truth, but it is a truth. But the thing will still happen, and people probably will say stuff like that to Charlie about him turning Nick gay or whatever. Like, absolute ridiculous homophobic nonsense. If a child of mine ever, I don't care how old that child was, we would be sitting down and having a talk. And if they did not change the errors of their ways, we would be having a talk at another location. You know, they would not be living under my roof. Like, I would make sure they had somewhere to go. I wouldn't be like, go live on the streets, but I would also be like, I will not have that here. And so it breaks my heart that Nick had to experience that and that Charlie had to be there when he did. And the brother knew Nick had left the room. He knew he was going in to just confront this 15-year-old child. Is Charlie even 15 at this point? I think he's 15. It's been so long since I was in school. I don't even know how ages work anymore. And the image as well of Nick struggling with the exam, with all that coming out, like in challenging Imogen on Ben right before, it wasn't the best timing. There would have been other times, but at the same time, the longer she is with Ben, the more she's getting her heart broken by him in the long run. There is every chance that Ben is bi, obviously, but he is still a sexual assaulter. And like, yeah, he was a child and a teenager, and I have to believe he could grow from that. Ultimately, like, even, I mean, Charlie can never has to have anything to do with him again, don't get me wrong, but he isn't growing from that because he's saying it's not like that, it was a misunderstanding, I was struggling. If his response to Nick had been, I can't believe I did that, I'm so ashamed looking back, like, yeah, I know I was going through stuff, but fuck, I can't believe I did that, I would have a warmer outlook on his character. Again, it would still be you're staying away from Charlie with a 10-foot barge pole. Also, you know, just don't get with anybody until you figure out who you are and what you want to be. But the fact that he's still in denial about it is so very true to what so many people are like when they have committed assault. And it breaks my heart thinking that Imogen probably will get her heart broken, because it is very true he could be bisexual, but I feel like if he was bisexual, he wouldn't have been with Charlie. And I don't mean that like, you know, like bisexual people can't be in gay relationships. By that I mean, given that he was so clearly struggling with the part of him that was into boys, he would have just hidden it and been with only girls. I don't know. Again, I haven't been in Ben's shoes, but Ben is just a terrible human. And it breaks my heart as well for Imogen, because, you know, her saying like, I don't have many friends, and now she's kind of cross with Nick. It would have been so good for her to be friends with Nick, keep being friends with Nick, to maybe join that other friendship group that is so loving and accepting of who you are for who you are. It could have been really good for her, and now I feel like she's going to get closer to Ben and the dicks rather than the good people. I don't think she's going to tell anyone. I don't think that her being cross with Nick will then make her tell his secret. If she did, literally that girl could die, but I mean, not literally. You know, metaphorically, that girl can just fuck off and never be by sight again. There's also the worry that his brother knows. He might blab about it, he might say something to someone, he might tell their dad, who's not here going to take it. But we knew it wasn't going to be a smooth ride. Now, that parents' evening, I can't lie, like I've never experienced a parents' evening like the one Charlie had. I mean, I was a good kid. Like literally, as a teenager, I did my schoolwork, I read books, I played The Sims and tycoon games, I watched YouTube, and I watched television shows, and that was my life. I went to like 2 parties in the entirety of my teenagehood. I was not a wild child. So yeah, I was good at school. Life since then, downhill. Academically, I was doing fine. So yeah, that was quite like the horror of that. And like I was trying to say, I think from as a viewer, especially as an adult viewer, I'm hoping as a child viewer too, but who knows. As an adult viewer, Charlie's parents aren't wrong for being cross with him for letting his schoolwork slip. They aren't wrong for wanting to figure out a way, like, to see the correlation between spending all of your time with your boyfriend, not doing your schoolwork. The two things are definitely related. I don't even think a ban until the coursework is done is the craziest idea. I just feel like it should have been more of a conversation and less of a like, I'm telling you off. Again, it's hard to do it in the moment, I know. Because, yeah, it's very unreasonable to not do your coursework. I'm sorry. Again, I'm saying this as someone who did her coursework and I was very stressed about it. It's not good that you're not handing in homework and you're not doing these things, and especially when you previously were doing these things. So it's not like it's not like Charlie is incapable. If Charlie just wasn't suited to academics, just, there was never going to be a world in which he was going to be able to complete a history paper, that's a whole other story and we would deal with that differently. The fact that he is gone from being a good student to an absent-minded student needs some kind of course correction. Now, realistically, slaving away working 24 hours a day to do your exams, to do your coursework, also isn't healthy, isn't going to encourage healthy education patterns for yourself. And I feel like as soon as he'd done that history paper, being like, yeah, you can now see Nick, but we're going to say it's 1 night a week to begin with, or 2 nights a week or something, because also, I didn't do any socializing during my GCSEs. Like, obviously, like, I don't remember vividly. I feel like in the weeks leading up to it, possibly I did some, but once the exams started, they are 2 to 3 exams a day for like 3-4 weeks. It is full on. You spend all of your time at school doing the exam, go home, revise. At school, do the exam, go home, revise. Maybe they've changed that since I did it. It has. I'm old. It's been a long time. But, you don't have time to go to parties. Children. I mean, maybe I was doing it wrong. And I will say, like, admittedly, I would say to my parents, can I go and revise now? And then I would put on YouTube for 2 hours. Okay, maybe not. But I developed a pattern that worked for me of, like, which I carried through to my university career, of watching stuff, of having a good time, and then focusing on the studying and doing a mixture of the two. So I am an advocate for having fun as well. So I think a little bit of socializing wouldn't be the end of the world. But yeah. You have to study for your exams, kids, and then they're over, and then you can be free for a bit. But yeah, it is a mess. Again, I don't think Charlie's mum handled it very well, especially when she wasn't even kind of listening to the dad's opinion on the matter. And also the dad didn't really say his opinion on the matter either. But at the same time, I actually don't think her punishment was unreasonable. And then grounding him, I mean, I was never grounded, I don't know, but he did sneak out twice. At least once they know, but we know it was twice. He hasn't done the history paper. I mean, they don't take that long. All the time you've spent sitting in your room being angry that your parents won't let you see Nick, you could have written it and then been like, see, I did it, and then gone to see Nick's. Again, maybe history's not his subject and it would take him longer than it would have taken me, I don't know. But teenagers. And it's because he's a teenager. Like, I'm not saying this with any actual angry criticism of Charlie as a character. Charlie is a teenage boy who is in love. Of course, he is going to be thinking, this is so unreasonable. Ugh. But it's just like, baby, just do your homework and then it'll be fine, okay? Your parents aren't wrong for being worried. So yeah, things have already started slipping down the slippery slope. A thing that is possibly on the slippery up slope is Elle. She loved the art school. I really hope she gets in. And then Tao finally confronting his feelings for her and realising that, yeah, that thing that you've been feeling that's growing and you're a bit scared of, it's real. I was half convinced Elle was going to be like the other side of the aisle or like walking behind him. I'm glad they didn't go down that trope. And I think it is good for him to tell her. And even if he tells her and she says, I'm moving on, I mean, I don't think she would. But even if she did, it's still good for him to tell her, just like I think it would have been good for her to tell him, because keeping these secrets inside can just make things get weird like they have been. Very good second episode, very stressful second episode. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon 2 weeks in advance, the edited version 1 week in advance, and thank you so much for watching.